I woke up one morning and didn't recognize the person staring back at me in the mirror. Not because I looked different, but because I felt completely empty inside. I had become a stranger to myself. My dreams were buried under excuses, my potential was suffocating beneath comfort, and my life had become a loop of meaningless routines that led absolutely nowhere. I was surviving, but I wasn't living. And somewhere deep inside, I knew that if something didn't change soon, I would lose myself forever. That morning, I made a decision that would transform everything. I gave myself 90 days. 90 days of complete isolation from the noise, the distractions, the comfortable lies I'd been telling myself. 90 days of what they call monk mode. And what happened in those 3 months didn't just change my circumstances. It rewired my entire existence. Let me take you back to where it all began. Picture this. A 28-year-old sitting in a tiny apartment, surrounded by empty coffee cups and unfulfilled promises. That was me. I had dropped out of the race before it even started. Every morning felt like drowning in quicksand, and every night I'd lie awake haunted by the person I knew I could be but wasn't. My relationships were surface level. My health was deteriorating. My bank account reflected my lack of discipline. But worst of all, I had stopped believing in myself. The fire that once burned inside me had reduced to barely glowing embers. I was scrolling through other people's highlight reels while my own story remained unwritten. I had become a spectator in my own life, watching everyone else win while I sat on the sidelines making excuses. The breaking point came on an ordinary Tuesday. Nothing dramatic happened, no tragic event. Just another day of waking up to the same emptiness, the same disappointment, the same version of myself I had grown to resent. And in that moment of brutal honesty, I realized something terrifying. If I continued down this path, in 5 years, I would be the exact same person, only older and filled with more regret. That's when I discovered monk mode. Not from some guru or expensive course, but from a desperate Google search at 2 in the morning. The concept was simple but terrifying. Complete elimination of distractions, total focus on self-improvement, absolute commitment to transformation. No social media, no meaningless entertainment, no toxic relationships, no excuses, just me, my goals, and the relentless pursuit of becoming the person I was meant to be. The first week was absolute hell. My mind rebelled against the silence. I reached for my phone 100 times a day, only to remember I had deleted everything. The dopamine withdrawal was real. I felt anxious, restless, almost panicked by the absence of constant stimulation. But I pushed through. I created a simple routine. Wake up at 5 in the morning, exercise for an hour, read for 2 hours, work on my skills for 6 hours, journal for 30 minutes, then sleep by 9. Every single day, no negotiations, no exceptions. The second week, something shifted. The mental fog began to lift. For the first time in years, I could hear my own thoughts clearly. I started journaling my deepest fears, my buried dreams, the lies I had been telling myself. I confronted the uncomfortable truth that I had been my own biggest obstacle. I had blamed circumstances, other people, bad luck, but the real problem was staring back at me in the mirror every morning. I was choosing comfort over growth, instant gratification over long-term fulfillment, distraction over purpose. And that realization, as painful as it was, became my greatest teacher. By week 4, the transformation became visible. Not just physically, though my body was getting stronger, but mentally and emotionally, I was becoming someone I actually respected. I learned to code. I read 20 books. I meditated every single day. I faced the parts of myself I had been running from for years. The discipline stopped feeling like a burden and started feeling like freedom. The obstacles didn't disappear though. Some days I wanted to quit so badly it physically hurt. There were moments of crushing loneliness, nights where I questioned if this isolation was worth it, mornings where my old habits screamed for me to come back to comfort. But I had made a promise to myself, and breaking that promise would mean losing the one person I was learning to trust again. Me. Around day 60, something miraculous happened. I stopped doing it for the 90-day challenge. I was doing it because I had fallen in love with the person I was becoming. The external validation I used to crave no longer mattered. The comparing myself to others had stopped. I was competing only with who I was yesterday. And every single day, I was winning. By day 90, I had built a freelance career that paid more than my old job. I had lost 25 pounds. I had developed skills I once thought were impossible to learn. But more importantly, I had discovered something priceless: self-respect, genuine confidence, and an unshakable belief in my ability to transform my life through conscious choice and relentless action. Here's what those 90 days taught me. First, comfort is the enemy of growth. Every single day you choose ease over effort, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. Second, you don't need motivation, you need discipline. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes. Discipline is a decision you make regardless of how you feel. Third, isolation isn't loneliness when you're building yourself. Sometimes you need to step away from the world to find yourself in it. Fourth, small actions compound into massive results. One good decision repeated daily for 90 days will change your entire trajectory. And fifth, the person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of the excuses you keep making. So here's my challenge to you. You don't need 90 days to start. You need today, right now. What's one thing you've been putting off? One dream you've been ignoring? One version of yourself you've been too afraid to become? Start there. Delete one distraction. Build one new habit. Make one uncomfortable choice that moves you closer to who you want to be. Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. No perfect moment is arriving. No magical opportunity is going to fall into your lap. Your transformation begins the moment you decide that the person you are today is not the final version of your story. 90 days from now, you'll either wish you had started today, or you'll be grateful that you did. The choice, as it always has been, is yours. Make it count.